right. Give it up for Manny and Jeff. Thank you, Manny, for showing up. All right, another one, yeah?
No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in not knowing. No matter if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come, let's be silent. Come, share a hug. Come, let's play together. Love and be loved. From the push out to the turning down, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. God in us, recognizing the God in you. No matter black or white or gay or straight or Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. Some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone. If someone cares for you, at the individualization of a divine point of view, this door, oh, this door right here, is open for you. Oh, this door, I'm talking about this door. I said this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. God in us, recognizing the God in you. Oh, no matter black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
So good morning. Good morning. My name is Allison Berry. Woo! Okay. Allison Berry, one of your licensed practitioners. We at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living acknowledge that we gather on the ancestral lands of the Cahuilla, Gabrielino Tongva, Kizh, and Luiseño peoples. We commit to live in right relations, to love our neighbors, to seek justice and loving kindness, and to walk humbly on this land. We recognize our oneness so that we decolonize our minds and set each other free from the pain of racism and violence, to live better as God intended, in harmony with nature and with one another. So again, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Okay, say it better. Good. So I'm really honored to serve as your guest host today. What did you call it, Neil? We're the understudies or we're the understudies today. Reverend Jeffrey and Ed are off at a wedding in Delaware. So, and it's lovely to allow him to have a Sunday off anyway. So anyway, it's an honor to be here. And I want to say hello to everyone joining us on our live stream today. I don't have a laptop, so I can't call out the names, but you know who you are. We're happy to have you. And please go ahead and type in where you're watching from. And I do want to remind everyone in the sanctuary to please put your phones on silent so that our time together is uninterrupted. So now we are going to do our congregational song. I'm going to invite you to stand and we'll get ourselves moving and all the energy flowing and going. And here we go. All right, here we go.
one of the licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Jeannie Tapioca and I will be available after service for a brief moment of prayer in the lobby. Please don't leave here this morning with anything on your heart. We love to pray, and we absolutely know that prayer works. Please allow this music to take you to the silence, followed by this morning's invocation.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Every hand I shake, every embrace, every thought I think. Oh yes, Spirit flow through me. Every word I say, every night and day, I want to be an expression of your unfolding love. And so it is.
I invite you to close your eyes if this is comfortable for you. And let's turn within, breathing into the heart space, taking in a deep, intentional breath, breathing in love and breathing out love. Allow yourself to connect with the divine energy, the one power, the one mind, one life, one love that is greater than all of us. I call it God. God is love, unconditional, peace, unspeakable joy, divine intelligence, beauty, perfect peace and wisdom, wholeness and abundance. But God is so much more than this. I know that divine energy created all of us. Therefore, we are one infinite, perfect, created expression of God. And there can be no separation in this oneness. Today is a perfect day to boldly explore new paths, allowing the strength and the power of God to express powerfully through each one of us. Look within. Listen to the wisdom and compassion of the heart. Delight in letting our creativity shine forth. Confidently call upon God. Call forth more, give more, have more. Boldly go, boldly explore. Be courageous. With God as our source, we have everything we need. Prayerfully co-create with God, manifesting a life of joy and peace. I give thanks for this divine creative presence flowing through each one of us. I release whatever needs to be released, knowing that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I bless this service knowing that it unfolds in perfect divine order, and I just let this be so. And so it is.
Wake up and breathe in deeper than yesterday. Take on the morning like your soul's been made. Roll down the window, let your cares fly away. Good things are yours to claim, you don't have to wait. All across the sky, new mercies rise, and the future's rise. This is a new day, everything's bursting with hope, coming alive. This moment, you got the freedom, no looking back anymore. Open your eyes, it's coming. This is a new day. The old is gone away, the old is gone away. This is a new day. Don't let it slip away, don't let it slip away. Go on and reignite impossible dreams. Become the one you never thought you could be. All across the sky, new mercies rise, and the future's bright. Whoa, whoa, this is a new day. Everything's bursting with hope, coming alive. This moment, you got freedom, don't look back anymore. Open your eyes, it's coming. This is a new day. The old has gone away, the old has gone away. This is a new day. Don't let it slip away, don't let it slip away. This is a new day. Yeah, the old has gone away, the old has gone away. This is a new day. Yeah, don't let it slip away, don't let it slip away. Love hasn't given up on you. Love hasn't given up on you. Love is making the old things new today and every single day. Love hasn't given up on you. Love hasn't given up on you. Love, love. Whoa, whoa. This is a new day. Everything's bursting with hope. Welcome to life. This moment. You got freedom. Don't look back anymore. Open your eyes. It's coming. Take me home, Jamel. This is a new day. Everything's bursting with hope, coming alive. This moment, you got freedom, no looking back anymore. Open your eyes, it's coming. This is a new day. The old has gone away, the old has gone away. This is a new day. Don't let it slip away, don't let it slip away. It's a new day. Yeah.
Love hasn't given up on you.
It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Whoa, whoa. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day.
It's a new day. Oh, love hasn't given up on you.
It's a new day.
family here. Lots and lots of energy. I love it. So I want to invite you to come together in consciousness as we say our focus statement together. And since all the energy's been going, we're going to do it with ease. I think we did ease last week, but so we can do more. So tell me some ease. Energy.
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Energy. Excitement. Elasticity. Okay. How about effervescence? And yeah. Okay, we got it. So here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Beautiful, magnificent. So I get to introduce our guest speaker. Not so much a guest, he's kind of homegrown to the Inland Empire. He was reminding me this morning that he has been a member of quite a few CSLs in the area. He started out in Redlands, then moved here to Riverside. He took some of his early certificated classes here, probably the youngest student I ever had in foundations and something else, I don't know. But it was treatment and meditation, yes, how could I forget? And I could tell from just that interaction that I had, he really was a special spiritual being, and he's grown into that even more. He went on to Greater Las Vegas to do his practitioner studies, and then circled back to the Beaumont Center, and then back here. He's been a practitioner for 9 years, and he is a 5th-year ministerial student, so he is our ministerial intern here. And his daily thing is teaching 4th grade. So how awesome is it to have the CSL consciousness with 4th graders? And she's been just a real trooper through the pandemic, and just I have such respect for all that he does and all that he is. And so we get to just give him a big round of applause.
Oh, I could listen to that introduction all day. It's hard to believe that almost 22 years ago, I walked into my first Center for Spiritual Living, and I ended up here. So this is definitely coming full circle and family for me. It's hard to believe I've been doing this for 20 years. So good morning again. I just want to mention and be really thankful for my partner in crime, Miss Allison over here. And I also want to be really thankful for our music. Aren't they great? Riverside Center for Spiritual Living definitely has the best music of any CSL in the Inland Empire. So let's give them a big round of applause. So Center for Spiritual Living Worldwide has the yearly theme this year of living everyday wonder. And I've really enjoyed that theme because it talks about applying our spiritual teaching, our spiritual principles to everyday life. Not just the abstract big things, but the little things. So this month we've been talking about creativity. And today I want to talk to you about going boldly. Now, for those of you that know me, know how excited I got when I saw this title, because I am a huge Star Trek fan. And Star Trek is all about going boldly into the unknown, right? I'm that kind of nerd. So you might not know this, unless you're a Star Trek nerd like me, but Star Trek actually has a holiday in the month of April. It is called First Contact Day. And in the universe of Star Trek, it is the day in April 5th, 2063, when humanity first meets aliens for the first time. So it's kind of the high holiday of Star Trek. And recently in ministerial school, I got to write a paper. I've been taking this class about mythology and cosmology. And I got to write a 10-page paper examining how Star Trek is like mythology. So if that's not a big enough reason for me to go to ministerial school, I don't know what is. So space, we can talk about Star Trek, we talk about space being that final frontier, that never-ending challenge of infinite space, of exploration, of meeting the unknown, of expanding our knowledge. But despite what Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk would have you think, we're not quite ready to warp out of our solar system. I'm afraid we're still a little bit away from that. A couple of years, 2063, right? But the good news is we may not be able to go to outer space, but we can go to the inner space. The inner space. And the challenge remains the same. We get to explore what it means to be living expressions of the divine. We get to explore who we are as unique expressions of God. We get to increase our knowledge and increase our self-knowledge. We get to meet the unknown, and it's just as infinite and just as adventurous and just as beautiful. And there's no better topic for doing this than creativity. Because the truth is, no matter what you've been told in your life, you are a creative being. We are all constantly recreating and co-creating our lives. We can't help it. It's our nature. Sometimes we create with intention. We are the sculptor. We have intention and we shape the clay that is our life. We do that through the spiritual tool of affirmative prayer, consciously and intentionally co-creating our life. And then there are times in our life when we are the clay. The spiritual practice there is visioning. We allow the universe, or that intuitive sense, to speak in and through and as us. That still small voice, we allow it to speak through us and to us, and we allow it to shape the clay that is our life. We have this divine dance. We are the creator and the beholder, the creator and the beholder, and we go back and forth. But both of these ways of being are just as important. And when they come together in this beautiful and divine dance, it creates the masterpiece that is your life. Because the truth is, your life is a beautiful masterpiece unfolding. In this faith and the philosophy, this way of life that we call science of minds, we believe that anytime that you are creating something, whether it is consciously or unconsciously, you are reenacting, you are using that same creative principle that created everything in the universe. All those planets, entire galaxies, every flower, every atom came from one thing, that thing that which we call God. And anytime it is our privilege, it is our honor to recreate that creative process in our life. You are the universe creating itself anew every day. You are the universe knowing itself as infinite diversity and infinite combinations. You are creating in this moment what the next moment of your life will be. Every moment. In this moment, you are creating what your life will be in the next moment. And the good news is that principle is never bound by precedent. It doesn't matter what has happened up until this point. Every moment of this now is a new moment for you to create something new. In fact, our founder, Ernest Holmes, talks a lot about what happens with this creative energy. He says that we are like conduits, we are like pipelines for that divine and creative energy to flow in and through and as us. And when that creative energy gets blocked, it has to go somewhere. It's kind of like the hose in your garden. You ever turned it on and it does that thing and it gets in that pinch and the hose shuts off? Right? That water's gonna go somewhere eventually. If you don't fix that knot, if you don't unwind that blockage, you're going to have a mess on your hands. When that flow is blocked, that energy builds up and it seeks any avenue for expression. And sometimes that means it shows up in our bodies, it shows up in our relationships, it shows up in our life in unhealthy ways, unskillful ways, because that energy has to go somewhere. Our job then, according to Ernest Holmes, is to keep that conduit, keep that pipeline as clear as possible and remove anything that is a block to the creative flow of our life. What is in the way? We all have lots of knots. Maybe you recognize some of these. I'm not good enough. I'm not an artist. I'm not going to have time. I'm not as good as that person is. And if we let those knots control our creative life, our life becomes a tangled mess of knots. We have too many knots. Sometimes they were given to us at a young age. Sometimes we gave them to ourselves. But part of that unblocking that creative energy in our life is untangling and undoing those knots. What are the knots in your life? What knots do you have that are blocking that flow of creative energy in your life? The best way to untie those knots in your life is by doing two things. Number one, practice being creative. Number two, be curious. Practice being creative and be curious. Because what I know is that we all have a divine urge to create. We are all the divine made manifest, and the impulse of life is to create more life, more complicated, more diverse, more infinitely diverse life. Life is always trying to express life. And because you are a manifestation, a reflection of that divine idea, I know that you have that urge too. So I know that when we start to clean out those divine and creative pipes, that energy starts to flow. It can feel a little awkward sometimes. It can feel a little vulnerable. Sometimes it doesn't feel very comfortable, but I know that the more we do it, the easier it gets. You might even find that once you get that creative energy flowing, that it does some untangling of your life. Those knots get untangled. My fourth graders are always telling me, "Oh, I'm not good at that. I can't do that." And my favorite, "This is hard." And I tell them two things. Number one, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything. You don't learn anything by doing it right. You already know how to do it. You only learn when you make a mistake and you learn from that mistake. And they're very used to me saying this. I say, "Well, you know how to do that. You know how to do that better and to get better at something?" And they look at me and say, "Practice." We often grow up hearing this phrase, "practice makes perfect." And we think somehow that gets mistranslated into our lives. We think that that means that if I can't do it perfectly, what's the point? But the truth is that the practice itself is the point. The practice that we do is perfect. Whether you are writing or gardening or meditating or playing the piano, practice is the point. And it is perfect just the way that it is. It is not practice makes perfect. It is my practice is perfect. Just the way that it needs to be. And here I get to stand up here and be in practice with you this morning. There is one powerful word that can untangle all of the knots in your life. Are you ready? Yes. It's kind of like the ish that we had a couple weeks ago. The magic word is yet. Yet. I may not be able to meditate for an hour yet. I can't bake bread yet. I cannot paint a picture or play the piano yet. But when I say that word yet, it leaves open that infinite possibility that maybe tomorrow I might feel like learning how to play the piano. I can't do it yet. You see, an essential aspect of creativity is not being afraid to fail. Scientists came up with this great invention. They called all of their activities hypotheses and experiments. So when something didn't work out, they didn't say, I failed. They said, oh, well, that didn't work. And they try something else. But somehow we think we're different. We think, oh, I did that one time and it didn't work, so I'm never doing it again. I did a drawing when I was a kid, and someone told me it was ugly, so I never drew again. Okay, you're not a kid anymore. You may not know how to do it yet, but that doesn't mean that tomorrow you won't be able to. Principle is not bound by precedent. So these scientists made it permissible to fail repeatedly until in the end, they got what they wanted. Is there something that you are passionate about? Something that you feel called to do, even if you don't think you do it perfectly yet? Think of it as a hypothesis or an experiment, because the good news is if it doesn't work out, you're allowed to say, well, that was creative, and try again. See, that has meaning for me because I had this really bad habit, and I realized I had this really bad habit of saying, well, that was dumb when I messed up on something. And I would say, well, that was dumb. And I got called out on it by a practitioner one time. And it was during practitioner training. And so I came up with this new saying. I said, every time I do something that doesn't quite work out the way it's supposed to, I say, well, that was creative. I had one of those moments this morning as I was driving here. I reached down to grab my cup of coffee, and I grabbed it wrong, and the lid came off. And it started to spill in the middle of the 215 freeway. And I thought, well, that was creative. When we think of life as a hypothesis, when we think about life as an experiment, it frees us up to make life an adventure. Even William Shatner, who portrayed Captain Kirk in the original Star Trek, went boldly into space at the age of 90 aboard Jeff Bezos' spaceship, the Blue Origin. And he said, I've heard about space for a long time. What a miracle it is to see it for myself. But just as those astronauts, just as those people have to leave the bonds and the gravity of Earth, we have to be willing to leave the circle of our comfort zone. Jeannie talked brilliantly about this morning. We have this circle around us called our comfort zone. It is our zone of competence. It's where we feel like we can do things without ever making a mistake. But how boring does that get? In order to step out of that circle, we step into the bigger circle that is just outside our comfort zone, called the circle of our excellence. But we have to be willing to move past our comfort zone. And here's a little secret about life. If you don't occasionally push back your comfort zone, it starts to shrink. Every once in a while, just for the fun of it, you have to push back your comfort zone. Because if you don't, it starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Does this take courage? Yes. But every time we take a step into the unknown, I know that the next step appears. If there's anything I've learned from watching Star Trek and reading Star Trek for the last, too many years. Never mind, I'm not going there. Is that we live in a universe of infinite potential. When we are in the creative flow, whether we are painting or baking bread or visioning for our next job, the universe is for us. It is seeking to express love through us. It is silently, and sometimes not so silently, cheering you on. And whenever you are creating that which it is that you feel passionate about, when you're in that moment of love, however you express it, you are living your life on purpose. And if it's not on purpose, you say, well, that was creative. I didn't do that on purpose. So how do you know what it is that you're passionate about? Where's this spark of divine life that's in you that's seeking to express? I have some questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What do you naturally do that you love and you always think about doing? Now, here's a caveat. A lot of times our passion isn't what we do for our paycheck, and that's okay. Maybe you love being outdoors. Maybe you can't get enough of reading or learning new things or watching airplanes fly or growing roses or going and looking for antiques. What is it that you do naturally that you think about doing all the time? That's the creative spark. Question 2. Where do you lose yourself in an experience? What causes you to lose track of time? Maybe it's playing with your grandchildren. Maybe it's fixing wobbly chair legs. Maybe it's going to the kitchen and creating something from nothing. Question 3. Where are you the most at home in your own skin? Maybe it's building a car or baking bread or skiing or hiking or fishing or knitting or learning about Italy or traveling to Italy. Last question. What is the one thing that makes your heart sing more than anything else in the world? Maybe it is singing. It might be visiting museums. Maybe it's doing social justice work or LGBTQ plus activism or feeding the unhomed or volunteering at an animal shelter. Whatever you feel these things, whenever you feel that divine urge to express, you're in the flow. You're in the flow of creativity and you're in the flow of love. Deepak Chopra, in his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, says this: relinquish your attachment to the known. Step into the unknown, and you will step into the field of all possibilities. You will have excitement, adventure, mystery. You will experience the fun of life, the magic, the celebration, the exhilaration, and the exaltation of your own spirit. So this week, your spiritual tool is to go boldly. Watch an episode of Star Trek. No, I'm just kidding. Be open to the creative energy that is seeking to express itself through you. Look for opportunities to be creative, to step out of your comfort zone. If you're already a pretty creative person, try creating with something you've never used before. Create something new that you've never tried before. Be curious and trust the process. Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the things you did do. And whether that means you're going to outer space or you're going to that inner space, I know that when you go boldly, you will live long and prosper. And so it is. Thank you. I'm going to invite our practitioners and board members to join me in the consciousness of prayer this morning. It is in that atmosphere of prayer which we meet the divine flow. We meet the divine love. We meet that place and space within each one of us that is infinite potential. I know that God itself, that divine energy, that divine intelligence, that divine order, balance, peace, and wisdom is itself infinite potential. It is unlimited by space, by time. It is that energy, it is that consciousness which we call God, and it is all that there is. I know that I am one with it, that I live and move and have my being from in that space, and I know that for and about every single person this morning within the sound of my voice, whether it is here in person or online. I know that that divine energy is right where you are, expressing itself creatively through your life right now. And so I speak my word for myself. I speak my word for this community. I speak my word for every person online, knowing that that creative energy is showing up and making itself known to you this week. Right here in this moment, I know that we are creating the life that we are going to live in the next moments. And I know, and I claim, that whatever it feels like we might be lacking in this moment, it is present right here and right now because God is present. Wherever there is a need of wholeness or balance or peace or wisdom, I know that it is right where you are. Because God is right where you are. And so knowing that is true, I know that we just simply step into this zone of excellence. We step into that creative power. We step into that place and space where we go boldly in our lives out into the world to express the love which we are here to express that divine spark, that divine energy that we are here to express. I simply give thanks for this truth, for this spiritual community, and for this teaching that says that I am a creative being, that I can consciously co-create and dance with life. And so I release this word into the law, knowing that that law reflects back to it everything that has been placed into it, and in great joy, I simply say, and so it is.
There's a feeling in the air, so rare that you
thank Neil again. Now I'm going to invite our beloveds in service to come forward as we are taking this opportunity to contribute to Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Collecting this morning are Cindy Lambert and Frank Connolly, and receiving these contributions on behalf of the congregation is beautiful practitioner Jeannie Kataoka. There are a couple of ways you can make your contributions. The easiest one is text to give. You just type in 951-419-5858, and as Reverend Jefford said, we go boop, and your amount goes through to us. You can also go onto our website. Yeah, make the boop sound, Neil. You can also go onto our website, riversidecsl.org, and up in the right-hand side, there's the word contribute, and go down and make your contribution there. Or, of course, this beautiful old-fashioned way. What? Oh, yeah, say boop, you might as well. And then, of course, the good old-fashioned way is right here in the sanctuary as the baskets go by. And so, anyway, so I invite you now to put whatever you're giving over your heart space, and let's go ahead and say this affirmation together. I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind. The universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed, and so it is. Gorgeous, thank you. So I just have a couple of announcements before we close out. We get to go have, as Reverend Jeff would say, our snackies and coffee. And the first one is about spirit groups. For the spring session, we've got 6 groups going, and this is your last chance. You can get onto our website and read up about all of the groups and click on there and join them. Of course, it's all free, and it's just a wonderful way. These small groups allow us to connect with one another at deep and profound levels and do fun work, and also to have an outing together and all that wonderful stuff. So there are 6 of them. They just started last week, so it's not too late. So take a look there on our website, sign up, and just begin to attend. Most of them are online. Also, coming up in May, we've got 2 events going on in May. Saturday, May the 21st, as you see up there, is our Spirit of Art art auction. It's a fundraiser, and we're going to be celebrating together from 5 to 8 o'clock over in Johnson Hall. All the beautiful artwork from community artists that are going to be donating their work or selling half the proceeds of their work. And the evening is going to be filled with lots of good food. We love to eat. Lots of good food, drink, live entertainment. Also, there will be a raffle, so you can win things. You can bid on the artwork. You can also do a silent auction or the auction. I'm going to be brave, step out of my comfort zone, and submit two things. In retirement, I sort of took up pastels. So I decided, we'll just do that. Won't that be fun? And I'm encouraging my friend Anita Nace to do. She's doing some cool stuff too. So anyway, there'll be a little surprises by lots of people, as well as really established, beautiful local artists, and you get to see all that. And a ticket price is $20. We've set a goal of selling 100 tickets. So that means invite your friends, your family. We have sold 4 tickets. Now, come on. We need to get online, go to the website, riversidecsl.org, read up all about it. Get your tickets today. The tickets help us cover food costs, number one. It is a fundraiser. But it also gives you a chance to forward on Facebook just a notice about it to friends in the community, and buy a ticket for someone if you can't come, and give it to them, because we really want to generate and just celebrate being able to be back together, number one, seeing beautiful artwork, just having fun together, and just encourage all this goodness to come through. So, will you do that today? Yes, you promise? Okay, all right, because I get to look at the numbers on Tuesdays.
Don't make her go back up.
Yeah, really. Like, what happened? So, yeah, thank you, Dinah. And welcome back to Dinah and Stuart. As a sidebar. Okay. And last announcement is, last but not least, our community picnic is back. It'll be the last Sunday in May 29th. I think Frank has a sign-up sheet, Frank Conley. You can see him afterwards if you haven't already done so, if you plan to attend, what you might want to bring, if you can volunteer your time to help set up. We do it right below the parking lot area in that grassy area, and it's lots of fun right after service. So see Frank and sign up for all that good stuff. So I think that's it for announcements. So I'm going to ask you all to stand. We are going to do our affirmation together, as well as the benediction and our closing songs. We have a great affirmation. I'm going to say it first, and then let's say it really enthusiastically. I courageously and creatively express the divine. So together, let's say it. I courageously and creatively express the divine. Fabulous. All right, and please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my body.
Love is in my body.
Love is in everything I do.
Love is in everything I do.
I am it.
I am it.
I share it.
I share it.
I receive it.
I receive it.
And I move love forward.
I move love forward.
Because
Love is here. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. This thing called love is in my mind. Love is in my heart. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. Receive it. If I move it forward, because the love is
love.